Hello, my name is Henry Rosales, and in this video, I'm going to present my redesign of chess.com's desktop landing and homepage. I went through the logged in homepage and found that these three portions of the page could be consolidated into a strong profile view. This would also allow for more space for other elements on the page above the fold. I also found myself looking more at the advertisements rather than any of the main actions above. A big part of this is because of the ads' eye-catching colors in stark contrast compared to the rest of the page. Displaying notifications was also an issue that I found on the site. The homepage button is used to navigate back to home while also being used as a notification pop-up. This confused me while using the app. I would frequently click on home and be directed home when I wanted to view the notification. I took a look at the landing page for new users. I found that this was effective for users wanting to play chess. I think there could also be an opportunity to onboard two users at once with a button that allows new users to play against each other. The main three appeals to create an account are puzzles, lessons, and news, and you can only see puzzles above the fold, and I believe there's a way to show all three at the same time. The small text next to the portrait shot is small and doesn't bring much attention. I think it's difficult to call attention to pieces of text like this, and I don't think it's bad, but having it closer to the top would be beneficial. I went to low fidelity explorations for three main concepts. The first concept is a heavy statistics game focused screen. The stats of each player would be shown against the leaderboard to incentivize play and still allow for content below the fold. I also added in potential ad spaces in these lo-fi screens as examples where they could be placed. The next page focused more on the social elements of chess.com. The three main actions are still at the forefront on top of the page, but content generated by chess.com would be featured more prominently on the page. Social features like friends and leaderboards would be on the left side of the page, while keeping the right side more focused on news and content. The issues for these screens are the same in my opinion. It accounts for one type of user while alienating the other. The third screen is meant to be a mix of the two. You have all the game and main actions on top of the screen with content still visible below. I eventually ended up going with this lo-fi option to translate into high fidelity. On screen are a few different iterations on how the landing page could look. I use simple 3D shapes as temporary assets. I would like to change these to more relevant 3D models in the same style. I kept in mind the prompt asking for brightness, depth, texture, and lighting, so having a difficult time incorporating the chessboard on the screen with that in mind, and I felt there was something still lacking in the design. After talking to my design mentor, she encouraged me to explore stronger colors and textures and play with alignment. After a few more iterations with that in mind, adjusting color and placement and alignment, I fell into this design. This feels a lot more modern, brightening up the design and adding more dynamic colors. There's also a nice polygonal texture in the back that breaks up the gray background. I translated these changes to the homepage, making the nav bar smaller and substituting the monochromatic gradients with brighter, more distinct colors. As you can see on the final iteration of the home screen, the tournament section is on a carousel that can switch between different elements. These could include drills, daily puzzles, and leaderboards, so there's a lot of options for expansion there. Making the nav bar smaller also allowed the idea of a search bar to be included. The buttons next to the search are ideas of common actions people would take when searching someone up. These can always be adjusted to fit the most common actions people would actually take. I also wanted to include elements like the counter next to the puzzle section and the progress bar next to the lesson section to be used in a way to convert users to diamond members. I think there's a lot of opportunities to show the benefits of diamond membership in a non-intrusive way. I also dove into improvements of how the game page could look. I didn't go as far into exploring these pages because it was out of scope for this project, but here are a few ideas that I did come up with that could be improved with more iterations. Lastly, it's not shown on these screens, but like in the lo-fi mockups, these designs do also allow for ad placements. Also, I don't think these iterations are quite ready to launch yet. There are some obvious accessibility issues that should be addressed before launch. Solidifying certain button decisions and simplifying the information architecture into something more cohesive should also be looked at. These things could be adjusted with some user research and site data to back it up, which of course, I could make these changes and conduct research if I was working at chess.com. I could do that if I worked there. Anyways, this was my presentation of chess.com's redesign.